Hello, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out the description of this video for links to my IG, my whatnot. We do sales every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Also, check out my eBay store as well as my email. So this is part 2 of the collection. So you saw before the opening kind of the state of my living room. Actually, so I picked this collection up on a Friday, and it ended up being about 3,400 comic books, which is a sizable collection. Now, I picked it up on a week ago Friday, and I had all of last week off, and I have Monday and Tuesday of this week off. So it took me the entire week. And Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, nobody else was home. My wife and kids were back at school, so I had time to myself to do this, in addition to, like, the rest of life. But I've been spending a lot of time going through this collection to try to process it. So I have everything cataloged right now. And now it's a matter of just kind of taking the books and what am I going to do with them? How am I going to sell some of them? What am I going to get graded? What am I keeping? That sort of thing. So I'm doing, this will actually mostly be available on Whatnot. You missed out on some of this stuff, especially all of these books, if you weren't with me last night. But the silver and bronze stuff is coming in the upcoming weeks. So just to go through the last several boxes that I picked up, we had a Dark Knight Returns. This is the second print, though. It had the whole set and it had 2 number ones. Both number ones were second prints. We also had the Dark Knight, all 4 chapters, all 4 issues. Issues 2, 3, and 4 are all first prints. So that is pretty cool. Alpha Flight number 1. It's really the only good key that I found. There are a couple of others. Now this is interesting. Ex Machina number 1. Signed by Brian K. Vaughan. I had done a read-through of that a while back. There was an Ex Machina movie, but it's not based on that. Even though the Ex Machina movie starred Oscar Isaac, Oscar Isaac's production company is connected to this project potentially. Then, this made me happy. It had a full run of Miracle Man, issue number 1. Still hunting for that in a 9.8. And then the big issue is issue 15. Right? The death of Kid Miracle Man. That's... things really went bananas. And then it had issue 17. I think this is the first Neil Gaiman issue. It's signed by Gaiman. It's kind of hard to see. In gold pen, Golden Years, wah, 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 Neil Gaiman. So, that's cool. There are some signed books in there. There is issue 23. I put that aside because now that completes my run. I was missing issue 23 from my personal collection. It was the only one I was missing. And then the final issue, 24. So it had the whole run. So, yeah, that'll be in maybe in some minor stuff. Then 7 copies of Justice League number 1, which did kind of rise a bit a while back when it was announced that Sean Gunn was going to be playing Maxwell Lord in the DCU. This is the first appearance in cameo of Maxwell Lord. And I really enjoyed this run of Justice League. It was a breath of fresh air after the Justice League Detroit. But I really most enjoyed classic JLA. The collection had a lot of, from mid to late 70s on, a lot of the JLA, JSA team-ups. I think from the one with the Legion of Superheroes on. This is the one with the New Gods. And unfortunately, this 183 is the last issue penciled by Dick Dillon before he passed away from a heart attack. And then you get this great Dark Side cover, George Perez art on the other 2 issues in that 3-part crossover. And then a couple of others. Origin of Red Tornado, also a Perez cover. And then first appearance of All-Star Squadron. There was an X Factor 5, the first cameo appearance of Apocalypse. an X Factor 1. Just an X Factor 1. There were some more New Mutants. I don't remember the significance of 13 and 14. And I really like the Bob McLeod era of the run. I was a little thrown off when Bill Sienkiewicz took over and went really weird. Demon Bear in number 18. And then this book has been moving lately because people have been asking if he's going to recreate his role. New Mutants 26, the first appearance of Legion, who had a TV series of his own. And then it had nearly a full run of Preacher. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of a tape pull up there. But Preacher number 1. That was another, what was it? AMC did the TV series. Batman 609. The first appearance of Tommy Elliott, who becomes Hush. Another really awesome miniseries. So let me put these in the correct order. JLA Avengers by Kurt Busiek and George Perez. Issues 1, 2... Oh, look at that cover by George Perez with everybody in it. 3 and 4. Superman with Cap Shield and Thor's hammer. Really good stuff there. Then this was interesting. It had issues 1 through 5 of this series. But look at this. It had Omega Men number 3. 2 copies. But look at this. The second copy signed by Keith Giffen. The late Keith Giffen. One of the co-creators along with Roger Slifer. And then it also had Keith Giffen signed issue number 5, which is Lobo's second appearance. And I think he also signed issues 2 and 4. Then this, proper timing, didn't have the whole series of Earth X, but it had issue 12. This is where Shalabal becomes a Silver Surfer. So that book has been all over the hot list. And then Earth X 1/2, this wizard book with the Certificate of Authenticity. I think I should change the bag there and put it like in a proper bag and board. Then it had a nice run of The Boys. Issue number 1. I'd read issue number 1 because I had gotten it as a reprint in Comic Tom Mystery Mail Call. Never had read issues 2 or 3. And if you've watched the series but haven't read the book is even sicker than the series. Like, it's even more demented. And it's kind of weird. It was published by DC Wildstorm, and I'm going through the book about, and there's like graphic. It's, you know, it's quite clear that they make it. Yeah, no, not quite clear. It's very small writing, suggested for mature readers, and then there are ads by, like, you know, candy companies and car companies and stuff. So yeah, issues 1, 2, and 3. It didn't have 4. Issue 3 is the first appearance of the Seven and first appearance of Homelander and all the characters that are prominent in the TV series. Didn't have 282, but had 283. First full appearance of Bishop. So it had some Uncanny X-Men books. 267, second appearance of Gambit. 268, this classic Jim Lee cover with this story involving Cap and Wolverine back in World War II. And also Black Widow is involved. She wasn't around during World War II. She's not that old. Then this classic cover by Jim... This is Jim Lee, right? Yep. 274. Now this one... This is X-Men 4. First appearance of Omega Red, but it's a newsstand. And this is reasonably high grade. I'm actually going to put this in my press pile because that book, a newsstand in a 9.8, is over $250, I believe, recent sales. Then 5, first full cover of Omega Red, first appearance of Maverick. I just want to adjust this box that I have next to me so it doesn't tip over. And then X-Men 11. It had a lot of these early Volume 2 X-Men with that classic Jim Lee cover. Fantastic Four 257. This classic Galactus cover by John Byrne. Another great Byrne cover, this time with Doctor Doom, and that's a newsstand. This is sort of a, I think, a callback to 84 by Jack Kirby with Doom looking over the castles of Latveria. Then it had some astonishing X-Men. This is the first appearance of Abigail Brand and of Sword. First mention of Sword, I guess. Then, New X-Men 114, the first appearance of Cassandra Nova, who evidently, it appears that that's who we see in the Deadpool Wolverine trailer. I have a theory. What do you think about this? That the Deadpool Wolverine movie will only be about 10 minutes of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, but actually it's going to be Taylor Swift playing Lady Deadpool and Daphne Keane playing X-23, and that'll be the Deadpool Wolverine. This is Uncanny X-Men 158. Rogue joins the X-Men. It's like old lady look Rogue. It's just... No, that's where... This is her third appearance. It's 171 where she joins the X-Men. My apologies. And those are both newsstands. Now this one, hot list lately, 168, first appearance of Madeline Pryor, newsstand. Another classic Byrne cover of Fantastic Four, newsstand, homage to FF1. Another classic cover, this time with Galactus by John Byrne. Those are great books to get in 9/8. This one, first Frankie Ray as Nova. 244, that's nice. And McFarlane Spider-Man, 319. There were McFarlane Spider-Man books in here, but no 300. No 298, 299, 300, 301. None of those. But there were some others. There was 323 with Cap. .324 with Sabretooth. Now, these are popular McFarlane books, but the print runs are pretty high. This one is, of the later ones, is the most popular. The Hulk groin punch cover, 328. 325 with Red Skull. That's some great work by McFarlane. Spider-Man 13, McFarlane homaging himself. Now, I will say this, like, I'm not a bandwagon jumper to be certain about Todd McFarlane. I know that there are a lot of people who love McFarlane's work. When did I become a Todd McFarlane fan? When he was doing Infinity Inc. for DC. That's when I became a Todd McFarlane fan. You know, I thought his style was really unique, and they kind of jumped into collecting Spider-Man and so on. Another McFarlane cover, ASM 304. I think this is the earliest McFarlane in the batch. And we jump back to 245. Here's another McFarlane, 306, that Action Comics 1 homage. And 311. Great Mysterio cover, also a newsstand. This is one of my favorites of the Spider-Man run, 312, with Green Goblin. That Green Goblin versus Hobgoblin book. Green Goblin looks so weird and bizarre, but doesn't he always? Oops. Let's go through the rest of these. Oh, okay. Oh, this is a good one. 315. The first time we see Venom on a cover, and you know, this little head there. That's his second appearance. And then 317 is fourth appearance of Venom. Web of Spider-Man 1. I was kind of in there by itself. Pretty nice copy. Charles Vess cover. First appearance of the Vulturions. Like you care. Amazing Spider-Man 529. The first appearance of the Spider Armor. This is interesting. Amazing Spider-Man 500. And I haven't been able to identify all the signatures on it. But there appear to be 4 signatures on the cover. Is that John Romita Sr.? I think that's John Romita Sr. I should look this up. because it was done by Straczynski, the Romitas, and Hanna. Then Long Shot, there are a couple of these. Unfortunately, this is... I don't know about you. Arthur Adams has been gaining attention for some of his Good Girl covers recently, but I think his artwork, I prefer it in his early stages when he had this very intricate line work. I mean, look at the detail he puts into, like the hair and everything on Long Shot. Great stuff. I never had that miniseries. And then Amazing Spider-Man 1, this is the purple webbing variant. Or no, it's just Spider-Man 1. I'm sorry, not Amazing. That would be nice. This is an interesting book. It's Magneto the Twisting of Soul #0, but this is the gold foil variant. A little rare. It's kind of beat up, but... What else do we have? And Batman Catwoman, Trail of the Gun. This little trade paperback there. Batman 426, Death in the Family. This is the only one in there from that run. Very few Batmans. Spider-Man #1 Gold Edition. There were a couple of those. This reprint of Incredible Hulk 340... I think this was a toy reprint. And then it also had, well, what are we in the mood for? First appearance. X-Men Annual 14. Again, Art Adams. The only thing is it doesn't depict Gambit, whose first appearance this is. Not first appearance in reading order. This is, you should have read this even though it came out before the other book. You should have read it first. But if you prefer 266, there was a copy of that in there. This is a pretty nice copy. Probably like a 9. Could be pressed up better. Yeah, I think it could go size 9.4, 9.6. I don't think it would get a 9.8. So it's going to be available on Whatnot. And then Amazing Spider-Man 252 newsstand. It's got some issues with it. Now, there were a couple of books, just minor books that I was keeping for myself, but one bigger book that I didn't have because I wasn't collecting second prints at the time. And who would have, I just kind of had my pull list kind of going on autopilot back in the day because when this came out, I don't know, I was just starting work. I was in a new home. I hadn't met my wife yet, so I had a lot of things going on other than comic books. So I never got the second print of this, but Batman 608, this classic Jim Lee cover, this was in there. It is not a 9.8 contender. It's probably 8.590. It's got some soft corners, a couple spine ticks, but this is just going to go in the PC, and that's going to go away. So that's part 2 of this collection video. A lot of good books in there. And again, there were tons of sets I put together. And then there's like probably a few hundred, I would say, probably maybe close to 500 minor keys / runs of earlier issues of X-Men or Spider-Man or whatever that people collect. And then that's not even addressing the Silver and Bronze stuff. So that I'm going to have to take a look. There are some condition issues on quite a few of them, but we will be taking a look in there and seeing what we have. And then there were, it's sort of like, there was one pack and it was a plastic bag with maybe about 6 comics in the bag. And I pick it up, and I feel that there's multiple comics in the bag, and the one I can see is NYX #6. And the other books were completely unrelated to it. There was no NYX 3. So, sometimes you're that close, and you don't quite get there. So, anyway, I'd like to thank you all for stopping by and taking a look at this video. You can take a look at a couple of my other videos here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.